Hey, how are you, Jose?
Good morning, folks.
Good morning.
How are you?
Perfect. All right.
Okay, you know, we really have a lot of work to do today, so I'm just going to answer a few questions, and then we'll take it from there.
How do you feel that they...
My second favorite reporter. Yes.
Second?
Yes. Where's Michelle Meredith?
The motion to recuse. It sounds like there's really not going to be much done on this, even though you're claiming that somebody from the state attorney's office launched a complaint.
I'm going to leave all those questions to the person who wrote the motion. She's probably the best person.
Yes, we are concerned. And look, as trial lawyers, we have a duty to file motions. And sometimes you don't win on the first motion. As a matter of fact, in almost every appellate case you see that hasn't. But we have a duty to document this record. And if this should happen again, it becomes a second issue. So we have to file motions to protect the record, and I think that we made the record fairly well today. And I think you all could read between the lines as to who filed the complaint.
Is this the end of it for you, or are you going to follow up on this?
Well, no, it's never the end, because we have a whole trial going on, and my job is to make sure two things. One, that the constitutional rights of the client are protected, and that they're not, is to make the record, and two, to deal with the forensic issues, which obviously we're not dealing with that today.
So you'll be following up on this motion to recuse?
Well, we'll be following up by making sure that, hopefully making sure it doesn't happen again. If it does happen again, we'll be back here.
Wait, did the judge
court.
rule on the motion?
Yes, he ruled on the motion.
And what did he do? Deny?
He denied the motion.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that. And also, how's Casey doing knowing the state of her father? How has she handled that whole issue?
I have stated numerous times I'm not going to comment on her private emotions or things like that. I don't think it's the job of her lawyer to do. If you were being represented by someone and you were going through a horrible time in your life, you wouldn't want your lawyer out there talking about what they're going through. I think those are privacy issues, and I know everybody wants to know the story, but I just don't think it's a wise thing to engage in.
When you didn't want Casey to have to be here today, do you feel like there's any negative ramifications for her having to appear in court today?
You know, I laid those out in my objections, and we rest on that. You know, we go with the flow. We've got tons of work to do in this case, and we're concentrating on the case, and we're always concentrating on what we feel is in our best interest. And I want you all to know something. You write a lot and you say a lot, but everyone who's speaking of our motivations and why we do things don't know what we know. So unfortunately, that's something you all have to keep into consideration when you look at these things. Is you don't know where the defense is going. You can assume it, but you really don't know.
When investigators wrapped up the crime scene, you said this looks like an excavation site. There's nothing we can find here. Forget about it. And now you're wanting to get in there. What are you looking for?
Well, let me answer that, since I'm dealing with the forensics. Obviously, when they took the crime scene down, we cannot obviously see what the scene was at the time. But the plant material and the plant life indigenous to that area is now growing back. And so I think that now, with the plant material growing back, it's an appropriate time to see what are the native flora and fauna at the scene.
But don't you think it's been contaminated since then?
I'm sorry?
It's been contaminated. People have been in there.
Well, that makes reconstruction at the scene impossible, but there are other things that we may be able to do now, and that's why we filed the motion.
You mentioned conflict of interest, Mark Meeting. What were you referring to?
Well, I think under the rules, you can't, the rules are clear. You can't represent someone in a substantially related matter whose interests are adverse to yours. And I felt it was a duty to notify the court. Mr. Conway came in at that afterwards and waived it, so it's a non-issue. And I mean, you know, that whole thing is really a non-issue.
The change in venue, when do you plan to follow that?
We're going to go back, talk about it, and decide when the ripe and the best time to file that is. So.
That could be soon, or?
I anticipate it being soon, because we feel our client's innocent, and we want to have her day in court. She wants her day in court, and I know that's a hard thing for everyone to believe here, but she is innocent, and she wants to have her day in court. You want to know what's going to happen? You're just going to have to wait till the court until court happens.
Remains or a second autopsy, do you know the time frame on any of that?
Again, that's another aspect I've chosen not to comment on. I don't think it's anybody's business about this child's remains or her funeral or anything like that. That's a family matter, that's a privacy matter, and it's not for lawyers to be talking about.
But the Anthony's lawyer is, as politely as possible, wanting to get this moving along and says the ball is in your court. Your reaction?
Well, I've pretty much laid everything out. I'm not going to comment on what another lawyer says or things like that. I don't think that's proper. All I can say is I'm not going to talk about the remains of a child or her funeral arrangements because it's not my job. I'm here to defend Casey Anthony, and that's what I'm focused on.
Jose, Casey looked quite different in court today than we've ever seen her before. Was that part of something you intentionally planned to give her a different appearance?
No, what you saw today is Casey. I don't know what you mean by different. Maybe the clothing was different, but she's the same person, and that's Casey.
When the last time she didn't have her hair done up, she didn't look, she did not have a business suit on. Is the look of Casey, does that mean anything at all, or is that just let's put her, suit
Well,
on?
I think that you guys are paying so much attention to it. It really it goes back to my objections. It's irrelevant what she's wearing, what her nails look like. That has nothing to do with her guilt or innocence. So, I mean, what can I say about that, honestly?
You say it's
How's
irrelevant.
she doing at this point?
What's that?
How is she doing at this point?
That's the same question she asked. Actually, no, we gotta get.
Specifically
No,
relating to George.
she is.
Too. Did you
I know
notice
she is.
that?
Yeah, she does. I'm not going to comment on her
But obviously Republicans
her
are
state.
That's why you filed that motion. That's why she's wearing a suit and not jail issue uniform.
Not necessarily. These are discovery motions. Whether I get this or that, it has nothing to do with substantive issues of her case, and that's pretty much where that ends.
Mr. Black has already told us that was going to be an appeal.
What's that? We gotta go. Gotta get going, guys. Thanks.
How much discovery are you still waiting on?
Yeah, I noticed that she was taking some notes down. Can you explain the notes?